going on, my beautiful people? It's your boy Don Drago, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Hustle Coast podcast. Today we have an absolutely amazing guest on the show. He is a master barber turned barbershop owner, successful real estate agent and mogul, and somebody that I've known for a long time who's got a lot of wisdom. I give to you Mr. Moises Solana.
Drago, what's going on, baby? How are you?
Hey man, I'm blessed, brother. How are you?
Good, good, great. I'm chilling, man. I'm blessed. Just we all blessed, baby. That's what
Yeah.
matters. We all blessed.
We are, man. We're blessed, man, and I'm blessed that you were willing to come on the show today and tell your story. And I know that you kind of told me off camera, you know what I mean, that your story gives some people goosebumps, man. So I can't wait for
Yes,
the
no,
audience
no,
to,
definitely,
to
definitely,
and
definitely.
also before we start, I just want to say, Mr. Moses here was complimenting your boy's hat off camera here, and I just want to shout out my business, Hustle Coast, because this right here is one of my designs. So the fact that one of my dogs was, complimenting it, I appreciate that, bro.
Great hat, great hat. I love it. I love it.
Hey, appreciate it. All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and get into it, Moses. I always like to start
Yeah.
off with kind of the
Hey,
the
real quick,
origin
before
story.
we start,
Yeah.
I just wanna give out my thoughts and prayers to all the families in Dominican Republic. They are suffering through that tragic episode that we all witnessed last week, with the club ceiling collapsing and killing over 200 people. My thoughts and prayers are with everybody, and only faith will get us through this. But over time, we should proceed and feel better. That pain will never go away, but it's something that they happen, and I just hope everybody, can be in a better place eventually once again. But yeah, shout out and prayers to those families.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that, man, and definitely prayers going out for them for sure. Absolutely. Well, all right, man. I always like to kind of start off with the origin story. So I kind of want to get the backstory. So for you, where were you born? What was your childhood like? All that.
Bro, okay, I was born in Merida, Venezuela, 1984. Then we came out here, we moved out here in 19 I actually got to Tampa January 10th, 1994, 2 days before my birthday. But because I was coming here on the 10th and January, we celebrated my birthday 2 days prior, so it kind of worked out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you've been in Florida ever since, though.
Oh yeah, no, I consider myself a Florida boy. I love Florida. I love Tampa. I love United States. Best
Yeah.
country, number one. I just wish people could appreciate it a little more.
Oh
Mm,
man, I definitely agree and appreciate Florida more because I feel like a lot of people like
Yes,
you
yes.
know like man we're
Oh,
we're
they're
living in a
starting to.
pretty
They're
great
starting
state.
to. You can
Yeah,
tell
you're
by
right.
real estate prices, people are starting to appreciate Florida. You can tell.
Oh yeah, and you're gonna give us all that information today. We're gonna pick your brain on
Yeah,
all of
no,
that.
definitely, definitely. I give you all the insights, man. Yes, sir.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you moved here. You were young. So sorry. So about how old were you when you got to Florida? Like 10, 8?
I had just turned 10. Yes, sir.
Just turned 10.
10
Okay.
years old. 2 days after I got here, I turned 10. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And so what was your childhood like? Did you have a big family, small family?
Ooh, no, my childhood was great. I love my childhood. I had a big family. Obviously, came from I wouldn't say a broken home, but my parents separated at an early age. I was actually 6 going on 7 when I realized my parents were going through a divorce. And at the
Mm.
time, it was kind of funny because I had just gotten hit by a car. When I was 6, November 15th,
Oh my
I was
gosh.
hit by I was hit by a car. I was a I was a bad kid. I was all over that place. I got hit by a car.
Oh,
I spent 15 days in a coma, and then three months in a rehab. Going through rehab, medical rehab, all kinds of stuff.
oh
So
my
then
gosh.
eventually I got out of the coma. 1990, let me see, 1992. The following summer, my family flew me to Cuba for 3 weeks, for no, almost like 2 months, and I had to do extra medical procedures out there they didn't have in Venezuela at the time. When I
Okay.
came back, trying to find my ways, my mom ended up getting she had an MBA and she was gonna do an MBA for her doctors over there in Venezuela. They gave her three
Okay.
choices: where you wanna go, Brazil, Germany, or United States. At that time, I was telling my mom, let's go to Brazil, let's go to Brazil, just 'cause I like soccer. I'm a big soccer
Right.
fan growing up. But I'm glad she chose United States 'cause Brazil is hot, bro. Brazil is
Yeah.
dangerous. So
Yeah.
obviously we came out here, and then I had to do my childhood all over again. But the great thing about it is that I feel like since I had 9 years of childhood in Venezuela, then 9 years here, everything I pretty much remember pretty much everything. I can
Right.
recall going back to my childhood and be like, yo, you remember this, you remember that. So
Yeah.
yeah, in that aspect, it was good. It was good. I tell you though,
That's
man,
awesome.
when I first moved here, I was like, man, I thought this shit was boring out here just because the kids were in such a farther back than over there in Venezuela. You go by the time you're 9, you've been through all kinds of stuff. You've seen all kinds of stuff. So it was a little different. Obviously, this
Right.
wasn't the norm to me. Over time, it became the norm, and what used to be the norm to me over there, going back to seeing riots in the streets or seeing people burn cars or like cop brutality, and for me thinking that was the normal. And like after being here so many years, I realized, man, that is not normal at all. That's kind of
Right.
like the Wild Wild West in a sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. So are both of your parents nationality wise Venezuelan?
Yeah, yeah. Well, my dad
Nice.
was
Okay.
born in Spain, moved to Venezuela when he was 11, and he never left. So he just, became a dual citizen out there. But my mom's Venezuelan.
Okay.
And it's funny
Nice.
because I tell people I got Arab, and they don't believe me. My mother's grandfather moved to Venezuela from Syria, then had my grandfather in Venezuela, and we grew up.
Wow.
But I know a little, we know a little bit of the culture, and I know everything, bro. I stay in everything.
Yeah, man, you sound pretty cultured, man. No, that's crazy for
Yeah,
sure.
it's,
And,
it's, it's one of those.
for sure. And then so, you get over here, you're a young kid, you immediately you said move to Tampa, right? Tampa is where
Yeah,
you.
Tampa.
Okay.
Bro, I tell you, the first day we got here, we were literally crossing. We were going across Fowler and 56 between the
Oh yeah.
McDonald's and Normandy Park. Those were the first
Mhm.
apartments I moved in, Normandy Park. And we were crossing the streets with all our luggage because we didn't know nothing. Obviously, before we got here, my mother had remarried because she had split up with my dad when I was 7 and we moved here. So by that time, she had remarried, and the only guy that knew English was my mother's husband at the time.
Okay. Sure. Okay, and yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm also and the way that we met is because I'm also from the Tampa Bay area. I was born in Clearwater, raised up around that area, and then around 15 actually moved to Tampa, the city. Um, and I'm pretty sure like me and you had crossed paths, even because I remember being in like a young kid, maybe like 15.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, man, maybe, and going into Fade Masters and seeing you in there.
Oh yeah, no, cause I mean I've been cutting forever, bro. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody always thought that I was younger, but I'm like, bro, I'm 41 years old now. They're like, yo, you don't look like it, whatever. And it's like,
Nah, dude,
it's all
you
good. I
don't.
don't
And your
feel like it.
energy. Yeah,
Kid at
yeah,
heart,
yeah.
bro. Kid at heart. Forget that.
Right, right. I feel like I'm kind of the
Yes,
same.
sir. Yeah,
Okay, so backtracking just a little bit here. I don't want to jump anything. So then,
yeah.
you growing up Tampa. So let's say high
So
school.
so we so we moved here. No, it's crazy. I go deep, though. I'm gonna go deep on this podcast. I
Okay.
told you that, bro,
Yep.
from the get-go.
Yep.
So we
Definitely.
moved here January 10th. Like March 13th, bro, the same year we hit the lotto. It's funny
Oh.
because when I tell people I hit the lotto, they think I got rich. I said, no, I hit the lotto in the green card. So every
Oh.
year they give out like 50,000 green cards to families that come from other countries. And whether
Mhm.
they're going to school or they're doing something positive for society, we get our green cards. So we got a
Mm.
green card. This is like,
Nice.
let me see, 1994. Boom. I was still in fourth grade. We get our green cards. Great. 2 years later, no, let me see. About the same summer, my mom got diagnosed with leukemia.
Oh my
She was
God,
doing
bro.
an
I'm so
MBA. She got
sorry to hear
diagnosed with
that.
leukemia. It was just me, my brother,
Jeez.
my mom, and the dude she had married. So when he found out my mother had leukemia, he left us, bro. He
Oh.
bounced on us. So then my mom had to fly out my aunt, who was my mother's younger sister, She came out here to Tampa, and between my mom and her, they pretty much raised us. Now, when we got here, every year, but it's like I tell people, growing up in Venezuela, I had it really easy. I had maids, I had a driver, and when I tell people that, they're like, "Oh, you came from a rich family." No, bro. In South America, most of every middle class, middle class citizen, we have those things. The only reason I had a driver was because my dad was like the head of the department of transportation for the university. That's the only reason. But the maid part, everybody has a maid there because it's just creating jobs for others. For the less educated one, or however you want to call it, and we help each other out. So we always had that. Then when I moved here, it was like a culture shock because I had it. Shit, we had to sometimes see the same thing 3 times a day because we didn't have no money. Rice, beans, and platanitos, lunch, breakfast, dinner, 2, 3 days straight. And I used to tell my brother, I was like, yo, what is this? We're not used to this. And then obviously my mom's trying to finesse. She just got diagnosed with cancer. The guy she married that she thought was going to look out for her left us. After he got his paperwork, he bounced. We bring my aunt to the picture, boom, boom, everything's straight. Come to sixth grade, that was fourth grade and fifth grade. In middle school, I start every kid tries to find their identity, whatever, however you may want to see it. I ran into this white boy. The dude was cool as hell at the time. His name was Bryson. They used to call me Chico because I look white, but I'm Spanish. So they were like, yo, Chico. He's like, Chico, I'm gonna teach you how to drive a car. I said, oh yeah? Let's go. When you gonna teach me? He's like, tomorrow. That kid was a little better, so he stole his mother's car. He tells me, Chico, you gonna drive it. It was a convertible. It was a Mustang convertible.
Oh,
The first day, boom, I did all right. Bitch, the second day, I say, he brings a Renault because he said, man, my mother's car's on the shop. I'm gonna teach you how to ride this Renault. As soon as I hit reverse and I put it in drive, bro, I hit the gas like that shit was a go-kart. Bad idea, boy. I hit a tree. This happened in Live Oaks, right there next to
oh my
Peabody's.
God. Yep,
The
I know
neighborhood next
exactly
to
where that is.
Peabody's and New Tampa. The
Yep.
neighborhood right behind it. I hit a tree, boom. The car kind of stopped. I got out. The car still moving. My boy Bryson threw it in park. Boom, left it there. Next thing you know, a whole commotion comes in, bro. Everybody. Mind you, then my mom comes. She don't know no English. She's maybe 2, 3 months into being, yeah, about 6 months into being diagnosed with her disease. And the only thing I remember her telling the cop is like, hey, can I whip his ass? ¿Le puedo dar con la correa? ¿Le puedo dar una pela? That's all she kept saying, bro. When the cop said, man, you do whatever you want to that kid, to your son today, because he deserves it. Boy, my mom took me upstairs in Live Oaks. When we lived in Live Oaks, it was either townhouse or regular apartment. The apartments were downstairs. If you lived upstairs, you as soon as you open the door, you go up the stairs and then you have everything upstairs. Bro, she kicked everybody out of the house. She locked me in the room and she grabbed the belt. She started whipping my ass with a buckle. But I never forget that day. The next day when I went to school, I had my back look as black as a shirt, bro. Just like this, black, bro. I was hurting, bro. But I learned my lesson. And as she whipped me, she would talk to me, bro. She's like, look, I worked too hard. I bust my ass way too long for you to just come and run shit. Then, take it down like this. This ain't it. Bang. And the main thing was growing up in a third world country. Most parents are quick to pick up a shoe or a bell and whip a kid. Over here, when she came here, she had that impression that, oh, I can't do nothing to my kid because they're gonna take him away or I'm gonna go to jail. Not this time, bro. She came back, boom. And so that was like lesson one for me as a teenager. A year after that, we moved to Cypress. At the time, they were called Cypress Run. I forgot what they're called now. And those are the ones that, like, right before you get to Tampa Palms on the right hand side, where there's a big lake and a pool. Those at the time they were Cypress Runs. And I had gotten into skating, so I used to do skateboarding. So I was wearing that Jinko jeans, the long hair, pam pam pam, chilling. I started smoking cigarettes. So what I would do is I would go to the store and steal the Swisher Sweets and start smoking the big stuff and thinking I was a shit. And one day I said, here, let's get to the bus stop early and smoke as many cigarettes as we can so we can catch a bus. throwing up, bro. Like, I was
Oh my
sick to my
God.
stomach, bro.
Oh
Yes,
man.
and but my childhood, I can't take it back, bro. It's all good. So yeah, fast forward a little bit. My mom get remarried. She kind of like she beat her cancer to a point that she was very stabilized.
Jeez.
Um, my stepfather was Cuban, so at the time they married was like 1998, almost 99. He said, because we were supposed to go back to Venezuela. We were only gonna be here 4 years and go back. So by the time we decided, my mom was like getting better through her sickness, and she wanted to go back. Chavez was going in Venezuela to become the president, and my stepfather said, "Listen, my family left Cuba because of Fidel. I'm not gonna go to Venezuela and going to the same shit and going to put myself in the same situation my family took me out of. In other words, and we were like, all right. So they bought a house in Lando Lakes. When they bought a house in Lando Lakes, um, it was 1999, and I was like, I used to go to Warren. My freshman year, I went to Warren High School, so it's like a culture shock because I was like, Lando Lakes at the time was only one way. I'm 54 east west, one way north south. It was like very country, bro. I had already made friends over there in Tampa. I hated it for a little bit. Over time, like any normal kid, you make friends, you go through everything. But that's when I kind of experienced racism. In every school you experience racism. Like I went to school in the hood, then I went to school in Tampa Palms, then I went to Warren, then I went to the country. So like if you tell me my school thing was I went to Temple Terrace Elementary, Temple Palms Elementary, and then I went to Locker Middle School in 28 and Martin Luther King. I went across the street to Young, and that's when I found out the first time ever I found out about Cracker Day. They're like, "Oh, Cracker Day's tomorrow or next week. Don't come to school if you're white, cause you're gonna get. Oh, you don't gotta worry about it. You Latino." They used to say, you Chico." I'm like, "All right, whatever." But I went to school that day. There was only maybe like four white kids in the whole school. I swear to you, dumb. Four white kids, bro, and like 27 cops. And this is a all seventh grade school. And there's no eighth grade. There's no only seventh grade at the time. And was writing like that. I was like, wow, this is wild, bro. Next thing you know, they open Benito Middle School. We go to Benito. From Benito, I go to Wharton. Then I went to Lando Lakes. When I got to Lando Lakes, it was a little bit of a culture shock, but obviously there's Spanish kids there. So everybody mingle up again. And it's funny because my best friend at that time, when that I met in seventh grade in Young High School, in Young Middle School, when he had just moved to Puerto Rico. We had ISO class together. He happened to be right at my footstep. We went to from Young Middle School to then he got kicked out of middle school, and then we ended up in Warren again. And then after Warren, we ended up in Lando Lakes. I got to Lando Lakes first, then he got to Lando Lakes later.
So you had
And
a buddy with you. That's cool.
yeah, it was. But my mom didn't like him. My mom didn't like him. It was like when you're growing up and you got that friend that you always get into bad, and your parents are
Right.
like, "Don't hang out with that person," like that, bro. It was after Bryson. That was my homeboy Jonathan. That was it, bro. And high school, everything. Fast forward a little bit. When I got out of high school, I was working at Tampa Bay Regatos at the time, right before I got out of high school. Tampa Bay Regatos, right there on Del Membre, the one that got on fire, not the one that closed down, the one that caught on fire before. And bro, I met so many people there and just busting tables, like I seen celebrities. I used to you greet the Bucks when they come out of Sunday games. It was cool, cool experience. Then what happened was I started selling, and at this time, like at this by this time, I'm already at my mom's house. 'Cause that's one thing I told myself, bro. I was like, if I'm gonna start selling weed, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things that we shouldn't. But if you're gonna do something, take it out of your mother's house, cause you're not supposed to be doing it to begin with. And at the time, I was like, chilling. I got so comfortable, bro. I moved to Lofton Place. You know Lofton Place right there on Gunn and Anderson.
Oh yeah, yeah, I do.
Yeah, right there, right by the discount auto
Nice.
part. And bro, I got
Nice.
so comfortable, bro. I was like, I told my boss on one of those, I hit him with like, hey man, so I can't make it to work today. I'm gonna be out for a month. He's like, why? What happened? I said, my grandfather died. My grandfather passed away like 5 years before, bro. Like that was just me making shit up to get out of work.
Right.
But they were cool with me, bro. Like I used to go there blasted, bro, and run the cashier, but always on point because I always had a hustle mentality. Like the hat. That's why I say I love your hat, bro. I was always like, let me stay on point. Next thing you know, bro, I get hot because I didn't even used to leave my place to say. I'd be like, nah, just come upstairs, bro. I got you what you need. I ate, I got you, boom. So people used to come upstairs. I lived on the third floor. And one of those, I got this girl living with me and my roommate, because my roommate was like, oh, he was like a a good-hearted guy. He was older than me. He was actually my homeboy's older cousin. That's how I became homeboys with Nelson. So he was, it was me and Nelson's apartment, but everybody staying. So next thing you know, I tell him, I had this girl Nicole stay with us, and she had two kids, and she lived with some white dude over here on Spring Hill. But her and the dude were broken up. So then she's like, Moses, last night when you fell asleep, there was two people. They came and knocked on the door, and they didn't look like your people. They looked like they were on some other shit. They had suits. They had a patrol car downstairs. All 10,000 car. I said, damn. So check this out. On one of those, right after she told me that, she told me there was two occasions. I was like, damn, bro. Like my mom brought me to the United States to be better, not to be worse, or you know what I'm saying, just to progress, not regress. And bro, one day I swear to God, I got home, Jesse, and but then I had like this connection with God, bro. I started talking to God. Like people pray in different forms. So my form of praying was like talking to God, like one on one. Like if he was sitting right across me, I'm like, God, why you have me doing these things? I want better for myself, blah blah blah, so on, so on. Mind you, growing up, bro, I already had it. It was always on the back of my head and had to cut hair because, bro, I got kicked out of BPK in Venezuela because I cut somebody's hair. Like in a paper class, we're cutting glue. I was like, hey, I cut my vein and you let me cut your hair. I cut two people's hair. One of the people's hair I cut was a little girl. She had curls. Bro,
Dang.
the lady wanted to kill my mother at the time. And I was like, so I always had that in me.
You
Next
start
thing you
learning.
know, when my brother was around, because by this time my brother's not even around. My mom and brother had moved back to Venezuela. So with my mom and my brother, they were like, um, when my brother used to get in trouble, my mom used to be like, yo, cut his hair. I used to get excited, bro. Like, oh, cut his hair. Say, what? You ain't got to tell me twice. And while growing up in high school, I used to cut some of the dude's hairs in the balcony, in the front of the house. So going back to when I was having that moment talking to God, man, I was so blessed, Jesse. But I was having a deep conversation, bro. The next day, I had my homeboy that I met through another homeboy. At the time that my homeboy introduced me to this one, he had just gotten in trouble because he had hit somebody with a jet ski over on Causeway, and he's like, "Oh, what happened?" So he was like on the run. So he's like, "Yo, let's go to Cash and Carry and get some bags." They were living on University Town Square apartments right there in the hood, Fowler and 15, and he's like, "Yo, come with me get some boxes." So when we go to Cash and Carry, I ran into Mike. That's how I got into Fame Masters. But I tell you that as we go on, I ran into Mike and I said, "Damn, Mike, my when I ran into Mike, my boy that wasn't going on the run, he tells me he like, hey man, this is Mike. Hey Mike, this is Mo. If you ever want that, my boy got that fire talking about me. And then he's like, hey man, if you ever need a nice fade, bro, come see my man's Mike. He's from Queens. He's nasty. This guy and he's Barber. He was cool. So we connected right away because we're the same age. Boom. So the day after I had that prayer, Mike was coming to give me a haircut. So I would trade him a haircut. If I wanted the people around me to get haircuts, I just be like, here, man, 10 grams for 10 haircuts, whatever. He was cool with it. That's when the grams were 20 back in the days, 2002. I'm
Right.
talking about 2003 and shit. So then he's like, bro, guess what I did? I said, what's up, bro? He's like, bro, I started going to barber school, and you don't need a high school diploma. Because, mind you, I wasn't able to walk with my high school class because I failed my state test by a point, my reading test. And the shit they threw me off about the whole school system here was like, there was other kids that failed the FCAT, but they were able to walk. And they were American. And I'm like, nah, this ain't even, I ain't even gonna say this is some racial shit because it probably wasn't. But I'm like, bro, I got all my credits. I did everything I had to do, and you tell me that I can't walk because I'm missing. I,
That's crazy.
I scored a 284. I needed a 285 on my FCAT. and my reading state test. So I was like, all right, you know what? Forget this. So when I met Mike and he told me, bro, I started going to barber school and you don't need a high school diploma, I said, oh hell nah. So guess what I did? I prayed on Friday. He cut my hair Saturday. Was in school by Monday. And school was in Separate Hills. And I was living in Lofton Place on Anderson. Gotta do what I gotta do. Every morning I would get up, go to school. Boom. How I roll in school? $500. Then she's like, at that time, she was like $5,000 to pay barber school. So boom, boom, boom. My mother got to sell an apartment that was in Venezuela that belonged to me and my brother that my dad had left for us. She paid some bills for her treatment. She paid up my school. I was out of school in 3 months. By that, then you fast forward. By the time I was getting kicked out of the apartment, I said, you know what? I had a girl at the time. She's like, "Just you don't gotta sell no more." In 3 months later, when I started working at a barbershop that I used to. My childhood barber used to cut my hair. Rolando, Magic Barbershop on Martin Luther King in Armenia. Great guy, Dominican. Boom, he started teaching me some things. Boom, boom. 6 months later, I go check out Mike. He's working at Fame Masters. And then I met Andre. He's Colombian and Venezuelan, so we kind of clicked right away. And I wasn't ready to go work on Fame Masters because I was a little green at the time. But my boy said, "Yo, you wanna come work at Fame Masters?" I said, "Cool, boom." So when I went back to Fame Masters, bro, in 2 months I already knew I was gonna make it because I was like, man, they had 10 barbers at the time, and I was able to go there and make 100, 120 a day. I was like, this is it. So I never, and mind you, I already came with good ethics because the guy that taught me how to cut hair, that was teaching me how to cut, I will always remember him, bro. He would not stop taking appointments on Friday or Saturdays until he had 20 people on his book. So that's how I approach it. Every Friday and Saturday, I gotta get 20 or close to 20. But if you say I got 7 appointments, that shit is weak. We don't do 7 appointments. You know what I'm saying? That shit is not acceptable. So that's why I go
For
through with
sure.
my barbers now, cause nowadays in the business, you get a lot of people that are like, "Oh, I wanna cut less and make more," but it doesn't work like that, bro. I
Yeah.
still go in. My bad, Jesse. I
Yeah.
still going into the barbershop with a mentality that I'm gonna cut quantity. It's not about the money. It's about the many people you cut. And obviously, I've been in that game for 20 years now. So I got
Yeah.
people. Yeah, my prices are affordable prices, but most of my people are still overpaying me because I've built those relationships and stuff with them.
Right.
So it becomes a
And you
little
got
different.
and you got so much experience and you're so good now. Like your fade is top notch, so that also helps as well.
Everything you learn everything. You know how to talk to them. You know how to network and all that. And it really
Yeah.
it became a network, bro. Because at first, I remember when I first got my real estate license, most of my clients at the barbershop were like, "Bro, you're gonna sell houses? You barely know how to cut my hair, bro." Like, and I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, come on, bro. Now I realize if I go back and think about it, most of my clients come from the barbershop. Most of my real
Right.
estate clients come from my barbershop. Most of them, bro. Not
Oh
saying
wow.
no. I'm saying at least a good 65% come from the barbershop.
That's amazing, man. That's great to hear. So yeah, I want to pause right there real quick and you're right, man. Like this, like your story just in general is like it's crazy. But just for the viewers who are watching, so you went from starting off young kid from another country, learned, built yourself up, and now you own your own barbershop. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
No, correct. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Yes,
So
sir.
how many barbers about work in your barbershop now, would you say?
Right now, bro. Well, I got 6 chairs, but right now I'm down. I was down 3 chairs. I got one of my homeboys that came back. They was working with me. He worked with me for like a year and a half. Then he went to do those. He became a lineman doing the
Mm.
electric poles.
Yep.
But then the company just recently moved back to the West Coast, so he's like, man, I just wanna get a spot in cut while I wait for Tico. I said, bro, come on board. I don't gotta retrain somebody. I already know what it is,
Right.
because
Right.
the week before, bro, check out the week before I had a kid there, 19-year old, I mean 20 years old, good kid. He was with me for 5 weeks, bro. Mind you, I always try to tell. I told that kid because I just felt like it was fair for me to let him know how the business goes. So I
Right.
said, look, bro, you came here, you was the barbershop 5 weeks. You are a great barber, great potential. You're gonna be a better barber, but you still not all there. So there's some people that left here unpleasant because you cut them or whatever the case may be. So now you tell me 5 weeks later, oh, thank you, but I want to go try to work at a barbershop closer to my house. So now I gotta pick up those the dirty rags and make up for my other barbers so they can stay eating because you just came over here, my clientele, and now you left. So
Right.
I told him, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I get it, I understand." Blah blah. I said, "So do me a favor, bro, and I know it's not gonna be the first time or the last time somebody does it to me, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just human nature, bro. Everybody's looking for that place where they're gonna grow and feel like they're gonna be better than where they at
Right.
previously." But I told the kid, and he's like, "Yeah, I understand, bro. I know what you mean." So I said, "Yeah, for the next guy, bro, don't do that to the next guy, because I
Yeah.
mean, we're working with you for you to get better." And we don't put you at the rent that you're supposed to pay right away because we want to build you to get there. I don't
Yeah.
want you to give me 175, $200 a week if you're only gonna take home 150 or even $300. I want you to go home and at least take 700, bro.
Right.
Now, if by that in 5 months, if you're at the shop and you're paying full rent and you're not making it, you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. You're not approaching it. But then
Right.
again, it's easy, bro, because in both of mine, if you think about it, in both of the things I do nowadays, you really have you your own boss. So guess
Right.
what? Now I have to really have that discipline to tell myself. Then I gotta go to the shop, and I'm gonna stay in the shop until I make. And a lot of times it becomes people get complacent. Oh, they go to the shop, they have a $500 day. I'm gonna take off Saturday because I just made $500 a day. It's like that's what most people do in a week sometimes. Nah, bro, you gotta keep grinding, dog. You gotta keep
Yeah.
going. Like the money's gonna
No.
end, so
Right.
you just gotta learn how to hustle. And just fo- follow through. Like it's just nature, bro.
And do you think that hunger and that hustle and that grind that you're talking about, do you think that for you, that's something that you developed along the way, or do you feel like you always had that inside, or?
I always, I feel like I always had it, bro. But then that's again, my mom went back home when I was only 20, bro. So like, and I decided to stay here. That's another thing. So we go back to, like I said, when I started selling, I moved out of my mom's house. I'm not gonna do that in mom's house. If I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna be outside mom's house. Same thing, goes back to the same principles. Mom asked me, "Hey, you wanna come back with me? Go back to Venezuela?" In a good modern Venezuela, Venezuela was like United States. Let's go. I'll be the first one on the plane. But that wasn't
Right.
the case. I already knew what time it was. I decided to stay. So by me deciding to stay and being out of my mom's house, I felt like I was no longer her responsibility, which I'm always gonna be her responsibility because she's my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my daughters, I'm always gonna love my daughters even if they turn 50, though. They're
Mm-hmm.
always gonna be my responsibility. So I get that in from that aspect. But at the same time, I'm like, if I decided to stay here, it's not for me to be blowing up my mom's phone. Hey, mom, I need $300 for the rent. What should I do? Can you spot me? That's not it,
Right.
bro. That's not
Right.
it. But that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't an option anymore because I was like, the moment I got my barber license, my hustle was gonna be cut hair, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Cut hair, nothing else. Same thing. It goes back to when I opened my shop. Bro, when I opened my shop, I saw my money go from my savings just goes from what I had it to almost nothing. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing. What can I do now? And I used to go crazy because I used to be like, there was days at the barbershop here when I first opened that I would only do maybe if I did $100 between Wednesday and Friday was a lot of money, Jesse. And I'm a guy that's used to making $300-$400 a day.
Right.
So that was a shocking, that was like a financial shocker for me. So
Yeah.
it got to the point that I said, damn, what am I gonna do now? The only thing I know how to do now, which is not
Right.
it's not sell weed, but it's sell houses. Hey,
Right.
but it's funny. Let me take you back real quick. When I was in Lafton Place and I was going to barber school, this older Cuban, right? And he's like, Coño, if you ever sell homes, like you're gonna be a millionaire, brother.
Oh
I never
man, he
put
called it.
I never put no, but I never put it. But I'm far from a millionaire still. I'm very humble. But I
Right.
never put that shit into perspective until I went and bought my house and I started going to real estate school and I'm like, oh shit, look, this guy said I never forget that, bro. We can call that man up through Facebook right now and he'll be like, yeah, I remember. Bro,
Yeah. He be like, I spoke that, man. I spoke that into existence.
yeah. So no, yeah, bro, it was nice because I used to move fast, and it was all in 20s and 50s, though, and I would get rid like in 3 days. And I'm like, coño, ¿cómo tú te mueves? Yeah, bro, come on, bro.
That's
But
that's dope,
yeah,
man.
going back to when I opened my business, I was like, damn, I don't got no money. What? Bro, go back into the game. Go back and try to put my. Because when I first opened the barbershop, I stopped doing real estate for a whole year because I was so focused in the barbershop, which was the wrong idea because you can always finesse both. But because I didn't understand the business of the real estate like that too much, I was like, man, let me just devote all my time to the barbershop that I know it. And then when I opened it, and my money was running low, same thing. I ran into one of my clients at the barbershop. He's like, hey, Mo, I need to sell my house. Can you help us out? I said, yeah. I went and did a listing presentation for him and his wife. We agreed on a price. Bro, got it so good. I had that thing under contract in like 5 days. Full
Oh
asking
wow.
price. Right there, boom, no
Damn.
there. Then, after the inspection period went by, we started looking for a place for him. And we went and got it. And then we went under contract on a house right here on by Concord Station on 54 by Lando Lakes. But bro, it was one of the worst experience I had working with another agent because there's always two agents to that transaction unless you find both clients. And bro, this agent was such a prima donna, bro. Like every time I call him, he be like, "You gotta kidding me, bro." So at one point, we're almost down to the deal, right? My buyers, they happen to get a bank from Texas, not even a local bank, a bank from Texas. So I had to give him ask for an extension. Then he's like, "You gotta be," bro. I had to pump the brakes on him. I said, "Listen, man, I don't know who you think you're talking to, but by you talking to me like that, we're not gonna get anything done." I said, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, we're all here for the same goal, which is you trying to help your sellers sell the house, and I'm trying to help my buyers buy the house. So everybody's goal is the same. Is the common denominator is the house. So I said, why don't you tone it down so we can communicate better and take care and close this out, and then everybody can move their ways. Bro, he kind of like he didn't thought I was gonna tell him that, and
Right.
I didn't really, I wasn't even ready to speak to him like that because I'm like, I'm not controversial. I just like to chill, make my money, go home. But when
Yeah.
you got somebody always attacking you and you trying to make a deal,
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I'm not I was a newer agent at the time, but I already been in the business 5 years. But I don't talk to me like that, bro. And you trying to
Yeah.
make
No.
get full, get me to pay you full price for your property, like, bro, you
Right.
need to tone it down. So he
Right.
did,
For sure.
and we moved
So
on.
no, that's sick, man. So I don't mean to cut you off. I want to dive deeper into the real estate, obviously, because I know that that's what you're doing now. But the last question that I just
No,
kind of
I
had,
still
the last.
cut, baby. I still cut.
Oh, okay. Nice. Nice.
I still cut in my shop. Yes, you gotta live by example now. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. When you own your business, you gotta live by example. Keep that guys motivated. Tell them how it is. That's why I said, bro. Bro, bro. When was it? 2 Saturdays ago. 21 people. And my boy looked at me and said, "Damn, bro. How many hits you got left?" I said, "I got one more." He's like, "Bro, you look like you just woke up. You look like it's 9 o'clock in the morning." I said, "Bro, it comes with time, baby. You don't
Yeah,
get this
man.
right away. It comes with time."
No, and that's a fact too, bro. Like I found that the best managers that I've ever worked with, they did lead by example, and they never asked me to do anything that they weren't willing to do. Because nowadays there's a lot of like
Exactly.
fair weather ass managers. Like that's a sign of good leadership in my mind.
No, because you have to leave before you have to leave
Yeah.
before. So when you have to leave when the shit is yours at the end of the day, because if you want people to go by what you're doing,
Yeah.
but regardless, bro, I lost couple barbers over dumb shit, bro. I lost barbers in the last few months because homeboy knew somebody and somebody told him a story, and I'm like, listen, bro, like I had to check this dude the other day. He tells me, oh yeah, 'cause my homegirl calls me at 3 o'clock on a Saturday and she be asking me what am I doing, and my homie's like, yo, I'm still working, and she laughs, and she's a barber too. And I say, bro, who closes a barbershop on a 3 o'clock on a Saturday? Oh, well, they do, but she makes like $600 on Saturday from 8 to 3. I said, is she cutting men's hair? Yeah. I said, she's lying to you, bro. Lying to you. If you're doing men's haircut and you only cutting from 8 to 3, mind you, that's still a 7 hour day, right? But you're not gonna tell me everybody's paying you $70, $60, because not
Right.
everybody got it like that nowadays, bro. Let's be real. I get paid, yes, but not by
Right.
everybody. Why? Because we're going through a somewhat of a recession, bro. People still, I guess barbers forget how other people got it, bro, and they don't have it as easy as we got it. And
Right.
obviously, there's somebody that has it way easier than us, but it's all a chain reaction. But people don't
Mm.
understand that.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. I guess the last question I just kind of had on that, and I'm happy to hear that, that the whole lead by example thing, because I'm 100% a believer in that. And like you said, you get a lot of your real estate clients through barbering, which makes sense. So
Yes,
that sounds great.
yes,
I guess the last question I just kind of had on that was like, in regards to actually opening that business and taking on that risk, because you had mentioned that for a while you weren't making the money that you thought that you were gonna make. It took a while. Like, what
yeah.
gave you the confidence to take the risk and do it?
Myself, bro. Myself. If I had to bet against somebody, bro, I bet against me, dog. Like, put it on myself. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. At first, it was scary. It was nerve-wracking just because I was comfortable. Do you know what I'm saying? But a lot of times they tell you, you gotta get up there. If you wanna grow as a person, you have to go from comfortable to uncomfortable, and then make yourself comfortable again, and then repeat over and over until you get to your point. But yeah, bro, like I say, it's one of those, like, did it. Was there times that I was like, thought about it twice? Already did. I'm not gonna go back.
Yeah,
Make it work. That's like the
yeah,
same
for
thing,
sure.
bro. When I started my real estate journey, bro, I took my test 9 times, bro. Nine
Wow.
times I took that test, on.
Oh,
And at the shop making fun of me. Oh, you passed? I said, nah. You want me to take it for you? I can do it. I ain't
and
worried
now
about
look.
that. All that
Hmm.
noise, I block it off. Just, I'm always, and that's why I tell people, I say, listen, like I told that one barber that had left, I said, because we had a meeting and he got offended. Because I tell my barbers, look, I'm fair. I said, yo, my walk-in price, $25. If you want to charge more for your client, the one that makes an appointment with you every other Friday or every Friday, go ahead. By all means, you can charge whatever you want to your clients. So then the kid 2 years later was still beefing with me about it. I pulled him out, bro. I said, listen, you know why we're having this conversation? Because your ass don't have enough clients, bro. If you had enough clients, this would be irrelevant. This wouldn't apply to you. I only have these prices so I can have the new barbers be able to build their clientele. If you can understand that, I don't know what to tell you, bro. If you're complaining about money now, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I'm not gonna hold your hand and try to teach you how to live your life, bro. That's on you, dog.
Yeah,
But
for
it's
sure.
laziness, bro. These barbers are lazy. That's what it is, bro.
Yeah, I feel that, man. Yeah. So now kind of talking about, I know we kind of dipped into it a little bit, but so now kind of getting into the real meat and potatoes of the real estate game that you are now in.
Yes. Let's talk real
Um,
estate. No
let's
more
talk
government.
real
Real
estate.
estate, baby.
So yeah,
Mm, mm, mm.
so what qualities do you think separates great real estate agents from average?
Transparent, bro. You gotta be transparent. I was just having a meeting because I do meet with people all the time, right? I'm
Hmm.
always about, like I say, I'm like you, bro. The hat is all about the hustle hard. So, like,
Hmm.
obviously, I do everything out of heart, but when you're so busy, everything you do, you get rewarded for, right? So
Right.
even when you put it out there, like in my real estate firm, we have a couple programs, right? But we're all 100% commission. And then one of the beauties is that we're such a big firm and we're so helpful to help agents grow that I'm always telling people, hey, you looking to join? Bro, I closed deal with agents that were working on another brokerage. By the time I closed the deals with them, they were signing up under my brokerage, and I was getting that referral fee from them 2 months
Oh,
later,
nice.
so
Nice.
it's like, and even if they sign up with me, it's not like, okay, you signed up with me, you on your own. Nah, bro, you call me, we'll meet up every other Monday, whatever. I give you my support number to the office. You can call them, bro. It's great. So I'm always looking, always about helping, though.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And And for you as a trainer, like what is something that you like to see when new people come in? Like I know you said transparency, so I see that. Like do you look for the people that you want to train is like do you look for the hustlers? Do you look for the people who are good on the phone? Like what qualities when you first see somebody do you like to see?
No, just somebody eager to get it. You know what I'm saying? Everything
Yeah.
else is gonna, you're gonna have, like, I'm not the best phone guy, bro. I hate talking on the phone. I hate cold calling, you know? So what
Right.
I focus in is open houses, meeting people face to face. And now, like, I just recently learned this, bro. And as long as I've been doing real estate, I should have known this. But I just learned this. Like, when I have an open house, the objective is not for me to meet somebody without an agent. The objective is for me to meet somebody without an agent, yes, but for me to seem knowledgeable enough to them that they say, damn, baby, you know what? I'm gonna give this guy a call so he can help us find the house that we've been looking for that we haven't been able to find ourselves or
Right.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, you educate. It's all about educating the person so they can make the best decision based on their financial situation or however
Right.
because you got wants and needs, bro. But everybody has to come to a midpoint where, okay, I got these many wants, I got these many needs, but I'm gonna make it happen, or.
Yeah, no, for sure. So what is your analysis right now of the Florida real estate position?
It's beautiful, bro. But I say it's beautiful because everything's pricey, everything's weird. But it's kind of hard, man, because I mean, I grew up in an era that we were spoiled, when we were growing up in Florida 10 years ago, bro, 12 years ago, nobody wanted to live in this state. Oh, that's a retirement state. That's an old people state. They only talk about two places, Miami, South Beach, and Orlando. Orlando for the tourism and Miami, and then maybe Tallahassee for the college life. But nobody talked about, oh, I'm gonna move to Ocala. I'm gonna buy a house in Hudson. I'm gonna buy in Port Richey. That shit didn't exist, bro. So I think what happened was COVID, you know, basically put a light bulb on Florida and say, hey, look, every state in the country shut down, but Florida is open. We're moving out there. That's where we need to go. And most people did
Yeah.
that. And that's really what happened.
No,
And
it is
now
fact.
the problem is people are spoiled because you got people saying they want to sell their houses like COVID prices, and they want their house to go under contract like COVID times, and it doesn't happen. It's like, let me give you an example. I sold a duplex during COVID, right? But I put it on the market let me see. I was gonna put it on the market for 385 because the last comps they sold for like, I think like 315. It was over there by Dunedin Clearwater. So then I was like, let me be a little greedy. Let me put it for 395. And even like that, bro, I got bombarded by offers. By Tuesday, I had two highest in bets at 405 cash and 410 cash. And then I went, obviously, I directed my seller to go with a better offer based on the proof of income and paperwork and facts that let me know that the buyers that were, purchasing the property were legit. Because I had the other guy, he tried to sweet talk my seller because my seller used to work from home. He's like, hey, this is great. This is a perfect place for my mother-in-law. And obviously, that guy was Argentinian or from Uruguay. My seller's Colombian, so they kind of had that South American connection. Like they felt like they were. And she's like, yeah, I want to give it to him. I said, yeah, that's cool. But we're getting 410 from the other guy. Oh, wow, let me talk to him. Oh, he's going to give us 410. I said, yeah. Where's his money at? Like, I want to see proof of funds. Obviously, I might be a little hard on my client, bro, but I want the best for my client. So I told my client at the time, I said, listen, I don't want you to go to Spain next month when you're supposed to go see your friend, and you're calling me on the phone like, hey, what's going on with my property? I want you to go to Spain and have that money in your bank account. What do you want to do? She's like, oh, give him a chance. I said, okay. The guy called me. He sends me proof of funds from two different bank accounts, and they're both overseas, one in Mexico, one in Israel. I said, bro, what you want me to do with this? I don't know how to convert this money. Like, I don't know how much money that means that you have in dollars. So you know what? I'm taking the other guy. The other guy was Bank of America, name matched the contract. Do had like 700,000 in the bank. I'm like, we gotta go with this guy. You wanna close the house in the time you wanna close the house? We gotta go with that one, and we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
No,
bet you
that
she's happy about it.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Is there
So
is there any spots talking about like, the Newport Richie and all of that over there? Is there any spots in particular where you're like, yo, this spot, if it was you who was about to buy, let's say, like another house for yourself, that you're like, oh, I really love this area. Is there a spot that you like?
I mean, I could tell you I like everything by the water, but the problem is after last year with the storms, everything got
Right. That's a
and that's
fact.
actually, with insurance and stuff nowadays,
Yeah.
I wouldn't live by the water. But Pasco's nice, man. I like a lot of Hudson is growing. Then you got places like Newport Richie. Port Richie, it's a little older
Right.
neighborhood. It's kind of like Caribou Meadows, if or Plantation, goes
Yeah.
way back, and then but if you Newport Beach is nice, Lando Lakes is beautiful, but
Yeah. Love Land
it's just a
Lakes.
matter of what you like, how much you want to drive, the commute.
Right. For sure. Awesome, man. Absolutely. So let me ask you, man, as we're kind of, coming to the end here. So, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind with everything that you do? All of your hustles, real estate, owning a barbershop, your family. What is a legacy that you want to leave behind?
That when people talk about me, they be like, "Yo, that nigga hustle hard." Like you have, bro. They be like, "Yo, he hustle hard." Like when they say Moses, they be like, "Bitch, that man works." Like the other day, bro. Like I said, yeah, I work. I still go to them. I still cut in them every on Thursdays, right? Why? Cause you see me
Mm,
there. Yeah. I always kept it 1 day a week. Why? Before I used to do 2 days a week because I had to pay my bills one way or another. So if I'm only making 100 at the barbershop from Wednesday to Friday, I might as well sacrifice, have it closed for a few hours, and go to Tampa and make $400 or $500 in $800 in 2 days. That's what I
right.
used to do. I still go to Tampa because I got so many clients, bro. And then if I tell my barbers in my shop, I said, look, if I get a guy in my chair, most likely he'll come back to the barbershop, but he's always gonna look for me. So you
Mm,
guys aren't gonna miss out on the chance. So when I'm not here, please take a chance. Please take the opportunity to work hard, put in work, try to get these clients. So with
right.
that being said, like on Thursdays, I still go out there. And my boy tells me the other day, it's like seven, almost, it was about 7 o'clock. Mind you, my kids go to school on Friday, but I'm always traveling with my kids, so that's why I do it.
Hmm.
So we just came back from a cruise. So then I tell
Nice.
my boy says, bro, you look like you got no kids, bro. Like, cause I'm always working, bro. You don't understand, like, but who says it's work when you love what you do? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I get it, though. Look, I tell people I work 7 days. Monday I'm doing home basically all day, but I'm doing real estate shit. Boom. Tuesday, Wednesday at the barbershop. Thursdays I'm in Tampa. Friday and Saturdays in the barbershop. Sunday, what am I doing? Showing homes or open house.
Mm,
And then I'm home by like 3 o'clock. Then I can get the rest of the day with the fam. But I'm always working, bro. Always working.
that's awesome, man. Yeah, no, bro. I could tell, dog. Like one hustler can recognize another, bro. Is like I
Always,
feel like
100%.
yeah, for real, man. Like that fire, you know what I'm saying? That like you feel inside where like
Yeah, I
if
don't
you're not
stop, dog.
yeah, bro.
It's crazy,
That's
bro.
what's up,
Bro, it's
man.
crazy because sometimes I go to sleep and my brain still be working, bro. And I like fucking go to sleep, bro. Like turned off, bro.
Right. But I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
man.
blessing and a curse, but it's mainly a blessing.
Yeah, no, but it's all right, bro. Because if you do it
Yeah.
right, we're gonna have nothing but time to enjoy that wealth. So
Oh, that's a fact,
it's right
man.
now, bro. Like I tell people, I say, put in the work when you're younger. Don't wait. Oh, I'm
Mm,
young. I got all my life. But that last thing that you have, that you think you have, is time. That's
yeah.
the last thing we have that we think we have. Is time. Oh, I got time. I got no. You don't got time like you think you got time. You don't.
No,
You think you do,
seriously.
but you don't.
Seriously, man. And that's the thing with humans, bro. We all feel like we're so like immortal until, you
I
know,
mean,
till that
cause
time, bro.
this is
So,
what I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. Like now that I'm getting to be a little older, I still feel great. I feel better than when I was 22. But it's so if your mind is clear, bro, and your mind doesn't go bad, you're always gonna feel young, bro. I
yeah.
guarantee you, when you're 70, bro, if we still got our brains how we got them now, you're still gonna feel how you're talking to me now. You're gonna tell your kids,
Right.
man, when I was your age, I used to do podcasts and I had to hustle hard. I
Yeah.
remember that shit like it was yesterday. That's how it is, bro.
That is how it is, bro. So let me ask, man, who are the people that you attribute your success to, whether it be mentors, family members, clients?
Ooh. Well, first person is my mom, bro. My mom. Just 'cause. She hustle hard, bro. She don't care though. She hustle hard. Like, she's a doctor, right? When she moved back to the States, guess what she was doing for the first 3 weeks? What she was getting her paperwork together. Cleaning windows and cleaning local stores and shit. Clean some of the barbershops. Whatever she can get. So yeah, my mom, that's hands down. Other than that, bro, I would say like obviously I always gotta give a shout out to my homeboy Andre because just for opening the doors to me, bro, and like when we as we grow we make mistakes or we I used to do at the shop ever got me kicked out, so I give him that, I praise that man for that. That's a good look. But my motivation, bro, my wife and kids, bro. Hands down, my wife and kids. Nothing. I might get the hustle from my mom, bro, but my motivation is my wife and kids.
Absolutely,
And
man.
that will always be the factor, though.
That's a fact.
Like the last, it's one thing for me to say, damn, I gotta make sure I got a roof over my head. If guess what? If you can't maintain that roof, you sleep in your car. But what about my wife and kids, dog? That's the difference. Like I make sure we got it, dog. Make sure we got it, and that's one thing, bro. Like we're not.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful because the house I got it from my mama, dog.
Man, that's what's up, bro. Nah, this interview has been freaking amazing, bro. And just, hearing your story, man, very like touching and very like, you are the epitome of somebody who came from the bottom and built yourself up to be, a success. And it's inspirational,
Yeah.
bro. It really is.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you one last thing
Yeah.
before we hang
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Remember how I told you I got hit by a car and shit?
Yeah.
Check this out. I never realized that until I took my test. November 15, 1991, I get hit by a car, right? I spent 15 days in ICU, bro, in intensive care unit. 15 days. 2006, November 15th, I got my barber license. So now subtract 2006 from 1991. How many years is that?
15.
15. And what day was it? 15, November 15. Both dates, both
Dang.
significant dates. Those days have a lot of meaning in my life, right? Because one day I was reborn, and that's how much I took to reborn, 15 days. And then the other one was like, bro, if I didn't get my barber license, Jesse, it was go back home. I wasn't gonna make it here. It was either get my barber license or go back home. And boom, 15 days later, and the same day I got that shit, bro.
It's an
That's
amazing
why I always
story,
say,
bro.
bro,
That's
just
crazy.
work, bro.
Yeah, that's really what it is, and that's what this podcast is all about, man. That's why it's called Hustle Coast, bro, because we like to highlight the real hustlers, the go-getters, the high achievers, and you are the epitome of that. The very last thing that I want you to say, man, is tell the people where they can find you. Where can they go to book you? Is it a website? Where can they find you on Instagram? Where?
All right. Well, if you guys want to book with me for a haircut, which is by all means anytime, I'm always available. You can go to booksy.com or go to Faymaster6, Faymaster6/Booksy. If you want to go to the Delmonby store, you can book, let me see, Mo Cuts. I'll tell you right now, I got it right here,
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
You can go to, yeah, Faymaster6 for Richie for Booksy or Mo Cuts at Faymasters1. You can always book with me. If you're looking to buy a house or sell a house or you have any questions in regarding real estate, you can always write me at Moises Solana Sales at gmail.com. You can also look at my website, Moises Solana at don'twait.com, or just give me a call. My number is 813-841-0561. I'm here to help. Whether it's a question, a transaction that you need, or just a regular haircut for your better days, hit me up, guys. I'm always available.
Hey, absolutely, Moses. I want to thank you again for coming on, man. You have an incredible story, and everybody watching, thank you for tuning in. We're out.
Yeah,
Peace.
bro. Hey, whenever you want to chop it up again, let me know, bro. I'm always down. I'm here
Yeah,
to help.
yeah. Most
Yes,
definitely, man.
sir.
Most definitely.